We don't take any days off here at Chat Sports. I don't know if you guys are keeping up to date with the weather down in Dallas, Texas, but it is absolutely snowmageddon. But you know what? We know you guys want your news. We know you want your rumors. We know you want your free content. So Chat Sports is pushing P. And if you're pushing P too, I want you to go ahead and spam P. NFL Daily from Mitchell Renz, and today's show is presented by Fetch Rewards. What I want you guys to do is not work harder, but work smarter. How do you do that? Turn your old receipts into gift cards. That way, if you want to take your girlfriend or your mom out for Valentine's Day, you can go ahead and do it thanks to the Fetch Rewards app. All you got to do is go to chatsports.com/fetch and use code CHAT to get 3,000 bonus points. So what we're going to be doing here on today's show is we're going to be looking at an updated head coaching predictions video, because we've made a few of these here at Chat Sports, and obviously with the more head coaches going to certain areas, we then have to go ahead and update our videos. Now, in terms of who are some of the newer head coaches, the Chicago Bears, they went out and hired Matt Eberflus, who was the old DC of the Colts. The Broncos, they hired Nathaniel Hackett, the old OC in Green Bay. The Jags, they just hired Doug Pederson today, former Eagles head coach. The Raiders, they went out and hired Josh McDaniels, OC of the Patriots. The Giants hired OC of the Bills, Brian Daboll. And even though technically this isn't official yet, but Kevin O'Connell's been hired by the Minnesota Vikings. The only reason why it's not official is because O'Connell, offensive coordinator of the Rams, they still have to play in the Super Bowl. After the Super Bowl, then it's official. So as it stands right now, there are 3 NFL teams that do not have a head coach. You got the Houston Texans, Miami Dolphins, and the New Orleans Saints. So what you're going to be seeing here on today's show is I'm going to be breaking down all the candidates. It's almost like a head coaching tracker and then telling you who's going to be the head coach of each of these teams. But out of the 3 jobs, Saints, Texans, Dolphins, which head coaching job do you believe is the best? If you think it's New Orleans, go ahead and spam S. If you think it's Houston, you can type H for Houston. If you believe it's the Dolphins, you can go ahead and type D. I actually wouldn't want the Saints job. I don't know if I'd want the Texans job. If the whole Stephen Ross situation gets cleared out with all the draft capital, with all the money that the Dolphins have in free agency, I would go ahead and spam my D for Dolphins. Now, we are going to start with the Houston Texans and try to figure out who's going to be their next head coach. Before we do, let's take a little bit look at that background information. The Texans, they fired David Culley after 1 season, and if I'm being 100% honest with y'all, I actually kind of felt bad for the guy considering the fact that he won 4 games with a team that, let's be honest, probably had no business winning 1 game. Deshaun Watson, he doesn't want to stay there, and their coaching search has definitely been one of the weirder ones when you look at some of the candidates. Like you got Brian Flores, former head coach of the Dolphins. In terms of who's the most credible, it's probably Brian Flores. Jonathan Gannon, Joe Lombardi, Jerod, Mayo, linebackers coach in New England, got some connections there with Nick Caserio. Former quarterback Josh McCown. Kevin O'Connell, remember, he just got hired by the Minnesota Vikings, so he's no longer a candidate. And then wide receivers coach from Florida Atlantic, Hines Ward. The last report that has come out of Houston is that there are 3 finalists for this job. And the 3 finalists are Brian Flores, Jonathan Gannon, and Josh McCown. So what I want you guys to do is go ahead, look into that crystal ball, try to figure out who's going to be the next head coach in Houston. If you believe it's Flores, type BF. If you think it's going to be Gannon, type JG. If you believe it's going to be Josh McCown, go ahead and spam JM. I'm going to go ahead and spam JM because I just really don't know what Houston is going to do. He's been reported as the favorite. He was interviewed last season as well. What makes this hard to believe is he's never coached in the NFL. Like, I get it. He's played on various NFL teams. He's regarded as being a very smart quarterback and helping other quarterbacks grow. But that's a big difference between being an NFL head coach. And then there's that old saying, bad franchises make bad decisions. There's no worse franchise in the NFL right now than the Houston Texans, which is why I think they're going to end up going with McCown. But if it was up to me, they probably should hire Brian Flores. Now, if you've never heard of the Fetch Rewards app, I want you guys to figure out and see why it's the #1 rewards app on the internet. Free to download. All you got to do is go to chatsports.com/fetch. And what you're going to see to the right of me is, like I tell you all the time, hey, scan those receipts, turning into gift cards. Sometimes you get pretty long receipts. I don't know if you've ever been to CVS, but man, their receipts are a mile long. All you have to do to make sure that your receipt is taken is you can take several different pictures. What you see over here is fetch. They then store them. They then upload them. And then when they're like, okay, we got all the information we have, then you get rewarded for your points. So if you go to chatsports.com/fetch, you get 3,000 bonus points when you scan your first receipt if you use code chat. The reason why I love this is because you can set up your email, you can sync up to your Amazon account, and we're already going to go out and buy groceries. You're already going to go out to restaurants anyway, so why not get extra rewards for the things that you're already buying? Valentine's Day is right around the corner. If you can be a smart shopper, save up some of those points, go ahead and get your significant other a $20 gift card to Target, Walmart, Starbucks. All of that is available at chatsports.com/fetch. 3,000 bonus points, but you got to use code chat when you scan your very first receipt. Let's now go to the Miami Dolphins, who Stephen Ross, he should probably use the Fetch Rewards app because apparently he was willing to give away $100,000 to lose games to old Brian Flores before he was fired. Flores was fired after 3 seasons, and it was definitely the most shocking move considering the fact that Miami went 10-6 last year. They went 9-8 this season, won 7 games in a row at one time. The new head coach is going to have to work with Tua, but the new head coach will have the most salary cap space. They will have 3 first-round picks in the next 2 years, but you might have to deal with Stephen Ross, which is a major issue. In terms of who are some of the coaches that Miami has at least requested to interview, Vance Joseph, Brian Daboll just got hired by the New York Giants, Mike McDaniel, Dan Quinn has already stated that he's going to stay with the Dallas Cowboys as their DC, Kellen Moore, Leslie Frazier, and then Thomas Brown. As it stands right now that I am video recording this show, the Dolphins have 2 favorites. And the top 2 candidates are Kellen Moore and Mike McDaniel. Both Moore and McDaniel are actually in Florida as it stands right now. McDaniel, he interviews on Friday. Kellen Moore will interview on Saturday. So who's going to be the next Dolphins head coach? KM for Moore, MM for Mike McDaniel. And the reason why I'm typing O, or why I want you guys to type O, because there's been reports out there that some head coaches might turn down this Dolphins job with all the allegations from Brian Flores and the allegations circulating around Stephen Ross. My head coach prediction here for Miami is going to end up going with Mike McDaniel, and originally I thought it could be Kellen Moore because of his connections and his ability, I really truly believe, helped Tua Tagovailoa grow. But the fact that McDaniel will be the Dolphins' first candidate to interview twice, all the reports out there that he is the favorite, the Miami Dolphin fan base want to go out and get Mike McDaniel. He's a young dude, but there have been some recent articles come out from places like Sports Illustrated and other Miami beat writers that have said, don't be surprised if McDaniels doesn't take the job, and that if McDaniel and Kellen Moore both don't take it, a guy to at least keep in mind is Vance Joseph. Now, to make sure you guys never miss anything, go ahead, join the Chat Sports family. I want to get to 279,000 subscribers. I know it's a tall task. 278,000 subs, excuse me. I saw 277,945. At the end of the day, we make a lot of content here. We are a free channel, and I want you guys to just hit that sub button, turn on those notifications, and if after a week you're not satisfied, you can always unsubscribe. But I'm very confident if you do hit that sub button, you're going to want to tune in to all of our shows. Let's go to the final team coming up here. It's the New Orleans Saints. And Sean Payton retired this offseason, which was surprised to some, but since we had an inside source, we kind of knew it was going to happen. New Orleans is minus $76 million over the cap, which is ranked dead last in the National Football League. This is what happens when you push salaries back, trying to be in win-now mode. They don't have that great of draft capital. They are in really bad situation in terms of cap space. Yes, I get it. They are a winning franchise over the past few seasons, but you can't forget, before Peyton got there, before Breeze got there, they were known as the Aints. And I don't know if the Aints are going to be coming back, but the salary cap, it's not looking good. In terms of who are some of the coaches that are at least in the hiring process, Dennis Allen, the DC of the Saints, Eric Bieniemy, offensive coordinator, Brian Flores, former head coach, Aaron Glenn, the Lions DC, Byron Leftwich. Leftwich was going to take the Jags job, but he didn't want Trent Baalke as GM, so now he is pulled out of that race, and then the Jags went ahead and they hired Doug Pederson, former Eagles head coach today, so that's definitely something to keep in mind. So who's going to be the next Saints head coach, y'all? Go down, let me know down in the comments section. This has definitely been one of the more difficult ones because the more and more guys that come out, the more and more candidates that arise, it makes me want to go away from my original decision. But I'm going to go with my gut. I'm going to go with our inside source, and they still say that Dennis Allen is the front runner to get it. Sean Payton couldn't speak highly enough about him when he was leaving the New Orleans Saints at his press conference. Dennis Allen, you could even see being a little bit embarrassed. He was the old Raiders head coach from 2012 to 2014, and sure, that didn't work out, but he's grown a lot since. He's been with New Orleans since 2015. They've had one of the best defenses in the National Football League in recent years. So here are my head coach predictions. The Texans, they're going to go out and hire Josh McCown. The Dolphins, they're going to hire Mike McDaniel. And then the Saints, they're going to stick with one of their guys on the inside, Dennis Allen. Those are all of my head coach predictions. If you disagree, if you agree, please let me know what you're thinking. I'm going to be looking.